All systems nominal.
それでは早速全速前進
You wanna know what the weak point of a mech is? The fucking pilot.
Get away from her, you bitch!
His papers say he was a raven.
Protocol 3.
A pattern blue!
Welcome to On the Shoulders of Giants, a giant robot power hour discussing mechs across media, their stories, and why we love them. I'm Alice, and I'm joined by Brian.
As your sovereign monarch, I have noticed that I've just caused people to die exclusively during my reign, and I have decided to quintuple down on that. So,
And Nico.
Fucked up that we didn't find the big, beautiful button that stops war forever during the Cold War.
This time around, we're discussing nanomachines. No, not Metal Gear Solid. The Price of Smiles, Part 3. Let's launch into it.
I can't believe we finally made it. Part 3.
We made it, Part 3.
they did build a weapon to surpass Metal Gear, though.
They did. Honestly, I was like, Metal Gear 3? That's a reference for you, Nico. The Nico of 2 years from now.
I was thinking about All You Need Is Kill, honestly.
Honestly?
For, like, this chunk of episodes. I was like, I
There was
cannot
a
believe
lot
we've
of
been
trope.
doing these two things.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. George Lucas once said that when talking about the Phantom Menace, and I really thought it applies here.
Yeah.
That quote haunts me so much.
I think that rather than this being the winter of the contemporary, I think it's the winter of terraforming. Because there's terraforming in this. There's terraforming in Promare if you think about the ending as terraforming.
Yeah.
And also he was doing terraforming with the mech anyway. And
Do you
there's
think-
terraforming in Kill la Kill. I mean, kill all you need is kill la kill.
All you need is kill a kill. The crossover everyone wanted.
Where we put KG in the school uniform. I'm trying to think if there's terraforming in Robot Jocks.
My understanding of Robot Jocks was that it's Mad Max with mechs in it.
Mad Max.
Mad Max! Oh my god!
Do we want to talk about this one?
Are cars...
No.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm going to read about the summary of this, which I'm going to read the exact same summary I've read last two times.
Oh
because
my
again,
god.
I think it resonates very well.
It rhymes.
On a world far removed from the Earth, there's a certain kingdom that's brimming with smiles. Fate thrusts young Princess Yuki, filled with idealism. Wait, this is the wrong one? Oh my god, I found a different description. Holy shit.
We can't do that one. We have to use the same one.
We have to use the same one for this joke to work.
It has to be 3 different reads of the same one. We can't even use the sampling of the first one 3 times. It has to be a new reading each time.
It's
I know.
It's true. For the verisimilitude.
For journalistic integrity?
Yes.
Wasn't it off Wikipedia, Alice? You're having a really hard time.
Let her cook. Alice May lost it. Alice may have to summarize this show.
No. You know what you have to do, Alice? You know what you have to do, Alice?
Yes.
You have to go back and listen to the other episode.
Right now.
And hear yourself say it so that you can say it again and memorize the whole thing.
Or you could summarize the show.
No.
Can I write it down in between this?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to. Okay. Okay.
Can we try to recite it from memory? I think I could give it a shot.
I just watched all of it like 5 minutes ago.
Well, no, I meant like the summary that Alice specifically is trying to find that tells you nothing useful about what we just watched.
Yeah.
It's like in a galaxy far, far away, there's a young girl and she loves smiling and she is the princess of her kingdom and all she wants in the world is to smile. It's an exciting time in her life. She experiences joy and sorrow and horniness.
You can just... I know it does say Stella is cool as a cucumber or something like that.
I'm ready.
She
Okay.
always wears a smile.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
go for it, Alice.
I fucking hate everyone here. This is bullshit.
Yay, she did it!
I had it, but then I found a different one, and I need to make sure I have the exact same. There are apparently two. Okay, here's the summary of Egao no Daika. We're cutting the rest.
And then I didn't.
On a planet far from Earth, there's a kingdom full of smiling faces. Princess Yuki is 12 years old and about to enter a sensitive age in a person's life. Every day she cries, laughs, and sometimes her heart throbs with excitement. All the while she lives merrily in the royal palace. Filling her days with color are her loyal vassals, her tutor Riora, Izana, who assists in political affairs, the leader of the chivalry Herald, and then there's her childhood friend and aide Joshua. Stella is 17 years old and cool as a cucumber. However, she is always smiling, for smiling is essential to living. This is a story of two girls born on distant planet.
Hey, y'all remember Joshua?
Wait, this is a story of two girls born on a distant planet. I forgot a letter.
That summary is wild.
It's so inadequate to
It's
one, what the
so
show is, and two, what we've seen now.
It is even better now that you've seen it all, right?
Oh, God.
Anyway, let's head to our first break, and when we get back, we'll be discussing the final 4 episodes of Egao no Daika, The Price of Smiles.
Hey, Nico here in the break. Just wanted to let you know that while this is a podcast, and we'll always do our best to describe visuals we're commenting on, we'll also include links to the mechs and images we discuss in the show notes, and post actual photos on our show website. Along with that, make sure to check the show notes for content warnings as appropriate to the episode. That's all for now. Back to the show.
Anyway, episode 9, The Elegy of Dawn. Elegy?
Elegy.
Elegy?
Shut the fuck up, Brian. Some of us only read words.
I only read words. I never... You know, you can go on the internet.
Well, you don't even read words.
Anyway, we start with Yuki, christening?
She's christening the fucking baby.
The Azuna's baby, Seal.
Yeah.
So we go back to the palace. They're having this whole ceremony. Kind of find out that they haven't told the daughter of Izana that Izana is dead. They're just...
It's nuts.
Well, she's the narrative foil for Yuki.
Ah.
Well, not the full narrative foil, but she is an echo of who Yuki was, which gets paid off in, like, I think the last episode or the second to last when they go... Yeah.
I think it's generous to say that it pays off, but I do know what you're talking about, and I do see
Yeah.
your point. This really does come across in its deployment as just like another thing. Like, people in Soleil just lie to each other. That's all they do. That's all they do.
Well, Yuki is seeing this young girl, and she is having the unfortunate experience of self-recognition through the other.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, there's still a war on. And Harold? Well, he's lost his husband.
Harold has nothing to live for anymore. His husband is
And
dead.
he's doing war crimes about it.
So we find out that while this is going on, Harold is helping with a battle, and he orders that they destroy the routing Empire troops. As you know, most warfare casualties happen during the retreat. You all know that, right?
Yeah, I definitely knew that.
I didn't know that, but also we now have an answer for who killed our good friend who was disabled in the previous episode in the random attack on a medical convoy headed back to the Empire. It was Harold, because he's fucking lost it.
Harold is murking people, so he acknowledges he's going against Princess Yuki's will. However, he is wanting to win the war, and the people who work in the War Command Center are surprised that the commander of war ordered war?
Quick fucking question, and I may just be like I may have just blocked something out of my memory. Who the fuck are any of these people in this random council of neoliberals that suddenly that we're suddenly answering to? What's happening anymore? Where did these people come from?
They really don't explain it well. That's the Senate. So that's the Empire's Senate. So the Empire is run much like Rome. It has an emperor plus a Senate. And you'll never guess.
Well, I think the people in the shot with Harold were just like other military intelligence
is that the one
people.
we're talking about?
No. I was talking about what Alice was
you were
talking
talking about the senators? Yeah, who the fuck? Where the fuck have they been? They literally have not been in session. They've been on recess.
They were showed in one scene, but it was just like, I mean, they all look the fucking same. These people, like, they have the same fucking outfits and shit.
And it's bad.
And they never acknowledge
look the same
them.
And it's bad.
Yeah.
And at first you think it's the governors, but they say they're the Senate. It's stupid.
And then she says, I am the Senate. And then Harold says, not yet.
Okay, so here is the turning point in the war. The Empire has developed a big gun. Sorry.
The
kingdom has developed a big gun.
Alice, are you so grateful this is the last episode you have to remember which one is which? Fuck them.
Fuck these people.
The kingdom built the sister Ray.
With just as much maneuverability.
Yeah.
And basically Harold's like, oh no, we have to use this to win the war. We can't just use it as a show of force. We are losing the war of attrition. Like, we can't outlast the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And Yuki's like, I guess, as long as less people die, which is the running theme with her. She then has a meeting with Izana where Izana's like, hey, remember
Layla?
Izana's fucking dead.
Layla.
You had a meeting with Layla.
I hate these people. I need to pull up my list on this other screen. I'm sorry. Nico,
You're so good.
Corner.
You're so good.
You're in the corner now. Okay.
We got you. It's just very funny.
I definitely took like 4 notes about this episode. Nothing fucking happens.
Oh, we get more maps. Don't forget the maps. So many maps.
Don't forget all the maps.
I have maps and nouns in caps like 9 times throughout my notes.
We see how the kingdom can only lose territory continuously.
It's like it's their job.
It's their job to lose territory. Yeah, this episode exists to illustrate what's happening with the extremely lampshaded and like, you know what I mean?
This is when we find out about the ancient nanomachines.
This is what I'm saying.
So basically she's done some experiments that can make us see nanomachines through the gay filter, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what this is.
No. You're not getting it right. Nanomachines are inherently gay, but we can't always see the gayness. We'll see this later at the end of the show.
But she shows this, and she shows that we get, hey, did you know this was colonized by humans who deployed nanomachines, which terraformed this planet? And the Krars are just a mineral on this planet that resonates with the nanomachines, but pulls the power from the nanomachines, killing them, which is what's destroying the Earth, the planet that was not completely terraformed.
All you need to know is our magic uranium is killing the nanomachines.
It is a Promare style world building lore drop of bricks on your vulnerable little head, but it's also like the most kind of rote, like pat concept of what's happening that's been obvious the whole time. Like you did not expect the whole interdimensional thing in Promare. We fucking knew the Krars was uranium. Nico's been saying it's uranium since the first 5 minutes of the first part of the show.
Yeah. But they have this very funny moment where they run this test to better understand the Krars and the effect that they're having. Like, basically, Layla gets to put on her scientist. She doesn't literally put on her lab coat because her tits have to stay out. But she gets to...
second we need them titties. Them titties are integral to the plot.
Integral.
Fuck you guys.
I love you, Alice. I'm sorry.
But yeah, she gets to come back in and do her science presentation, but it knocks the power out, which is so funny because it turns out she knew this was going to happen and she packed a lamp.
Yeah. This is like, have we really gotten strong scientist Layla before this? She said she was an analyst, which I guess means scientific analyst, which is not something I kind of knew was the specific thing, but...
We only saw her at the development of the new Krars, but she's really never, been like, I know science.
I think they also have this here so that she can do the thing later, which is also extremely contrived that I have to talk about, but...
Yeah. I think it's interesting because it's like her role definitely shifted. Like we were shown earlier where she trauma bonded with a baby and it fixed her life. So I think basically like she was a bad bitch nuclear scientist and then some shit happened. And so she decided to be a mom for like 20 years. And then she gets back in the room with the nuclear science and is like, shit, I remember this. You remember when I had a job? You guys remember when I went to college for this?
So the power outage takes out the whole facility. She thought it would only be like 10 meters, but took out everything. So they're like, well, people are going to be cold, so let's all go outside and camp and make fires together. And we have a scene with Yuki and Layla outside at a fire talking about, this is so nice how we can just get along in a fire.
Yuki becomes a soup-pilled anarcho-primitivist.
And Layla is like, oh, by the way, our ancestors used to live like this. We know from the records, and they didn't have war.
Humans were simple before civilization. God.
It's wild.
There's an appeal to the return to nature here, which is really wild.
The show, very much, in one hand, is romanticizing primitivism, and then on the other hand is being extremely condescending and colonial about it.
Yeah.
And then also, on the other hand, is catastrophizing it, especially at the very end. And it's just like,
she has three hands,
and
and
with this.
The show is a mess.
The show posits, does accelerationism good?
But Harold is so black-pilled. I think he's the one who says, if we didn't have weapons, we'd just kill each other with our bare hands.
Throughout the show, he drops the craziest one-liners, and I'm just, he'll say something, and I'll just be sitting there like a tumbleweed blows by in front of me, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with you, guy.
This motherfucker just talking.
And it's so funny because it's such an extreme statement, but that's also literally what happened when the ammo ran out during that one uprising we saw Lillian.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe he's making points. Who could say?
So the Empire has found their secret facility. Oh no, they always show up. And so they start attacking, and they're like, okay, we got to get out of here. The new gun, we got to get it out of here. We got to escape. And we get another scene of, I'll stay behind and die, which is a really cool thing to do in war.
Number one wartime activity, I would say.
And quick eyes, what's the line that he says to her, that he's always said to her?
You have no time to stand still? Is that what it is?
You have no time to stand still.
Oh, I was about to say, I miss my husband and I want to die.
He says, if you truly care for your people, the time has come for you to make choices no matter how difficult they may be. And I wrote, Harold finally spits some fire before obviously going to, buy the farm.
After apologizing for everything he did.
Also, he has been undermining her trying to make choices like this that he's talking about this whole show.
It's crazy. He is so full of shit.
We have no respect for him. We only respect one DILF in this house.
He deploys to be the rear guard, and this was a very important of the show for me because it's the first time they deploy fixed defensive positions. So they actually have defensive turrets with sandbags. A++.
This actually was kind of sick, this little fight here.
This fight is pretty sick. I will say, I love this animation error of where the pillboxes suddenly didn't have their sandbags, right after.
I did not catch that. That's so funny.
Because when I saw that, I was like...
They evaporated.
Perfect. Because we start to see at this point, like with most anime that's made, they make it as it's airing.
Yeah.
And depending on the budget, things start to get cut and less. And so there's a couple of scenes where you're like, animation budget is going to shit here.
There's a couple literal Gundam, fucking early Gundam ass, 2 frames of bullets flying kind of shit.
I do love this part because the Empire deploys a tactic we've never seen, which is go up the hills to the right and shoot down.
Yes, I love the way they skim the hills. It rules. Grandiga's always doing cool shit.
Yeah.
This isn't our usual flat plane where we have battles, because this one doesn't have sheer walls. It has sloped walls.
It's a new technology for everyone.
So Harold appears on the hill with some of the Order Knights and is like, sorry to bring you along as I die.
Something we glossed over, he literally had Izana buried next to his wife. Sorry, I just had that in my notes.
Yeah, he did. I forgot.
This man is ready for death.
He is. He's ready for death. And there's a third spot that's an empty, unoccupied spot. Yeah. Yep.
That's not for Izana's wife and child. He's in Harold's plot.
Yep.
Me, my husband, and my husband's boyfriend.
Yes.
Vibes, really.
Yes.
So as Harold goes to battle, do you know what he recalls? That's right. Not his wife, but when he was at the coronation of Yuki at her birth, or the baptization.
It was kind of both, because her parents were dead, so...
No, in this scene, they're alive. It's it's when she was a bit...
Oh, yeah, that's right, because she was just a baby. Okay. She had to get born. I forgot.
She had to get born. We then get a rip shit awesome fight between Harold and some Empire mechs. That seemed familiar. Did anybody else catch that? We all know what's happening.
I want us all to remember the shot of the chair in War in the Pocket, because that's what this is trying to do to us. And it
does not have the juice.
All I could think about was the shot of the chair from 0080.
Where he's this shot?
Yes, exactly.
They show Harold in the cockpit covered in blood, and they're trying to give us the energy of, my God, isn't this brutal?
Mortally wounded because his cockpit's full of giant mecha size.
You can see the sky through it.
Holes. You can see the sky through it. He's obviously dying.
And he thinks of the graves again with his beautiful spouses.
His boyfriend's family.
Yeah.
And then so what happened is he was about to kill a mech and then another mech got in the way and they literally just gun each other at point blank range in the cockpits.
Yeah.
He gets shot to death, but then the Empire mech explodes, all while Princess Yuki is watching. It's very sad, right? We all cried.
Death.
And that's how it ends. He blows up.
What was the title of this episode again? The Elegy?
The Elegy of Dawn.
Yeah. Fuck Harold. Okay, time to get back to the people who matter.
Yuki has people just absolutely tossing their lives at her feet.
I know.
We'll get to it, but there's one shot that lives rent-free in my head that we're going to go over. Okay, so we start the next episode with...
What's this one called?
Thank you.
Sorry, it's just super important to me.
Episode 10, The Ignition of Souls.
Ignition of Souls.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
We go back to
Huey, Dewey, Louie. I hate this. I don't know why you guys like this guy.
Huey did not get enough potatoes. His life has gone wrong.
Huey, the vice commander, pink-haired boy, is talking to everybody.
That's Break. Huey is Potato Man with the curly hair.
Oh, fuck Huey. Can we all say, fuck Huey?
Fuck Huey.
Fuck that. I'm so sick of that fucking guy.
I'm laughing, but fuck Huey. Anyway, we catch up with our best friends on the Grandiga side.
They're talking and they're about to get deployed, and they're driving out. So I do have a question about this particular scene. So we establish,
yes,
and this is very visual. They are going out to battle. They have 6 Thurgers, Theurgers. They have 6 Thurgers. How do you pronounce that word?
They have 6?
You did it right. All of those were correct. All of those were correct.
We're correct because the show is garbage.
They have 6 mechs. They also have an APC that they travel in. In this scene, all 6 people are in the APC who are piloting the other 4 mechs that are flying with them. There's only 2 fit in the APC.
You and me. You and me and
but
Brian.
Show everyone else is in the fucking APC. Who's driving those mechs?
Then who was phone?
Okay, sorry. Who was
then
phone?
Who was Thurger?
So they get there. There's a cute little scene where they're, haha, I'm gonna warm up by drinking, and the boss is like, don't drink while we're doing military operations. What a buzzkill.
I hate when my boss says that shit.
They don't see this man. They don't see this man when they're walking around. How did they miss this?
I had a history teacher in high school. 2 kids would be like actively fighting in his classroom and he would just go, hey, easy. This is this energy right here. He's literally just like, put it away. We're on a mission. And it's like, bro, you found a guy drinking on duty in an active war zone. What's happening anymore?
The PTSD is really hitting.
Yeah.
Everybody's pretty much done for it.
So I love this scene. There, I said it. They go shopping.
They go shopping in the town. They just decimate it. They're like, let's party.
So they go shopping. She sees the best little...
No, it's just, there's another orphan.
We are orphan rich in the price of smiles. So a kid comes up and talks to him and is kind of mean to Lily. And Lily says, I'm going to tell your parents on you. To which the child starts crying and says, my parents are dead.
How are you supposed to not laugh at this point in the show? How is this not?
We are.
Remember when you were just like weirded out by me just cackling maniacally about dead children the other recording? Welcome.
That was Joshua, though.
Yeah, but welcome. You finally reached the level of fatigue I hit very early.
I want to go back to something, which is in the last episode at the top, they're doing lines on maps bullshit.
Yeah.
And they say, There have been 300,000 deaths in this war.
That's a fuckload of deaths, my guy.
It's mostly mech on mech warfare. I want to be clear. Like, where are these people dying? We do not see infantry battles in this show.
Yeah, but everyone who's gotten damaged enough in a mech has died.
Well, and presumably when Yuki isn't looking, there are a whole bunch of those, like, Mujahideen fighters who stay behind to die.
To run into the middle of the road and shoot up at mechs.
Also, who knows how many giant cabbage houses were raided and everyone in there was killed with guns.
Yeah, most of the deaths may be due to famine.
Honestly.
Oh, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Nothing else about this.
Oh.
Just that.
So they meet this orphan and they go and ask Dad, hey, can we go visit that orphan Lily wants to make up to her? And he's like, yeah, just be sure to come back in time. Oh, wait, actually, I'm going with you. So he goes and...
I love orphans, what can I say?
They drop off boxes of toys that they had around, I guess?
I presume every time Gale is our DILF, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
DILF alert.
Every time we see Gale, I assume every time they accidentally blow up half of a Toys R Us while they're just decimating towns, he's in there like, ooh, this is a good deal. This is some crates up to send home.
He's also wearing his exclusive orphan saving uniform. He only wears this outfit when he's saving orphans.
The trench coats are back and they are talking to orphans in them. Yeah, so, okay, I do want to say... It has the same energies as cops who have teddy bears at the back of their cop cars to give to traumatized kids. Vibes. Sorry, your parents are dead. Here's some toys.
Exactly. 100% that.
So this orphanage is literally an old guy who is bedbound and a lady. Mm-hmm. And they just are like, yeah, one showed up and then more showed up. We can't turn them away because they're kids. Stuff. They didn't go and see the orphan's art wall.
Do you ever look at the orphan art wall?
This whole 10 minutes of episode was just like, what? Again, you don't have this budget. Why are you drawing so much? This doesn't need to be here at all.
Well, they're not. This was clearly created by accident.
They're crayon rich. To be clear, okay. So we go over the wall of art, it's cute picture art, and then they focus in on one. The blurriest ass crayon drawing ever. And they're like sad because they're like, oh, that's war. What about this is war?
Wait, I did not get this at all. I was like, what am I supposed to be seeing that's so grisly about this?
This is a crowd shot that they have run through the dry pastel filter in Photoshop.
These kids don't need to be drawing. These kids should be at the club.
There's like one picture that has good quality, and it's this. Everything else is the most blotted watercolor bullshit in the world. And so then they point out, then they're like, because they're all in the same room, they're like, yeah, that depressed kid in the corner who has PTSD always draws war. That's all he draws.
Yeah, it's fucked up of him. We don't want to be thinking about it that much, but he will not stop.
That kid's vibes are rancid.
And you know how you cure PTSD?
Oh shit, please
a simple magic trick. Why
hasn't my therapist done this for me?
So Gale shows this kid a magic trick and all the kids are suddenly fine with the people who killed their parents being in the place now.
It's painful. It's painful.
Lily gets roasted for 5 minutes straight by orphans about how shitty her drawing is, which is just amazing.
And she takes it so personally and so seriously.
Surprised Lily did not pull a gun on these orphans.
She throws one over and caps in the head.
She's like still talking about this later. Like in a different scene, she's like still complaining about this. Those little kids didn't think I was cool.
This is the first of what I like to call, do you remember that thing? Yeah? Too bad, we're going to show you it again.
Yeah.
This anime is 12 episodes long and they're doing flashbacks. You are not Naruto. You will never be Naruto.
So a girl comes up, gives Stella a piece of candy and is like, welcome to Emma's house. I'm Emma. Because she lives here now. And she gives candy.
My house now.
And it reminds Stella of the time she got candy from Annabelle's owner, the little girl with the doll, Annabelle Creation. And then they're like, oh, we wish we could stay. And their boss is, oh, yeah. I mean, like, they get heavy-handed with the flashbacks of her, like...
At this point, I could not believe this scene was still happening.
It kept going, and then they go into a full... We explore more of her background, in which she just became homeless for a while when she ran away from home. And yeah, one or two people gave her food, but then she was just, like, sitting on the street, and people don't like her because she's homeless, and she's like, I guess I'll join the army as a homeless kid.
I mean, unfortunately, hey, speaking as someone who used to be homeless and who was told point blank in high school by advisors that I should enlist, like, she doesn't have someone telling her to do that, but this narrative is so funny to me because it's like, oh yeah, this is literally it. This is the abject poverty.
Yeah, absolutely.
The abject poverty and lack of social support to military enrollment pipeline.
Yeah. Active. It's dire, y'all.
But shut the fuck up, because Lily asks if they can be a family, because a military squad is like a family. Because
when
even
your
though we
girl
thought
walks
that
up and
Stella
asks
had,
if you want to start a family. I'm kidding.
when a girl, look, the Yuri is real. Can I call you Stella Nay? Nay being the modifier for older sister, and she says,
I know,
of
they
course.
were dodging it. She said, hey, we're going to become a family, but I'm not going to call you my wife, even though it looks at the viewer. You know what's up.
Looks at the viewer, we're having a moonlit romantic confession next to a lake about how you can find family in me, your mecha companion.
Love, perhaps, can bloom.
Don't.
Even
in the battlefield.
I hate this podcast. This podcast sucks.
Yeah, well, welcome to episode 12.
So they're working on their mechs, and we learned that Stella is not only... She's forklift certified, boys. Stella is running that forklift.
Woo!
Oh, I have... My notes for this scene are, we get it. Girl, help. My facade is crumbling. Help, girl. I'm becoming vulnerable and causing industrial accidents.
She causes a crane accident because she's thinking about what family means.
Listen, who among us has not caused a crane accident?
I love this scene because it's like...
This is how you fix a job.
Yeah, exactly.
He's on a stepladder fixing...
He's standing in, like, an exposed panel, and, like, there's just socket wrench noises. And it was a dent. It was a collision.
It was a giant dent the size of a septic tank, and he's up in there with a wrench on a stool to fix it. So they have a conversation between them in which Gale leaves some death flags, normal things that you do.
This is such a cute conversation, and I became so distraught because I didn't... I kind of thought he might die, but I wasn't, like, thinking he was definitely going to die, and then this scene happened, and I was like, oh, cool. He was this is where I put together he was the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole episode only exists to hurt you as much as they can with the death that's about to happen.
So the conversation they're talking about is, do you think that orphan with the two old people can survive? And Gale answers very succinctly of, that's a tough question, because, I mean, it's hard to say in these things. But he also goes on to say one of my favorite lines, which is like, in a lot of these, you don't get a lot of people who actually realize things, but he says, we're the ones creating orphans. And I just love that line because they are.
So true.
So true, bestie.
The orphan to orphan maker pipeline.
I was about to say, the Empire, it's an orphan making machine. Yeah, and then we get...
the other side of the battle.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, yeah.
Yeah, so we go into the other side of the battle. So, spoiler, the people who attacked the Kingdom base in the last episode, it's them!
Yep.
And so that was actually a jump back, and we are now in the modern time, and we show the fight from the Empire's perspective. The exact same fight. I love this.
It's pretty good.
This is the first time they've done, like, we are showing both sides of the fight. Just still sparse like they do. And
it's DILF on DILF violence.
It is.
And no one can walk away.
No one can walk away, but Gale definitely won.
Yeah, so it ends up being that the person that went up and was about to be destroyed was Stella. And so Gale gets up in there and he's like, I gotta protect Stella. They both shoot each other's middle. He explodes and says, what does he say? He says something cute.
See them through.
Yeah.
He says see them through.
See them through. All these promises, etc., etc.
Oh, devastated. Goodbye, sweet prince.
DILF alert.
Ah, my prince.
Yeah, he was a real one.
And we get another Stella cry, peak, one of the best ones in the series, where she screams out in anguish. And then we cut to a wonderful scene. So Gale just died. And we cut to the Empire in the old capital of the Kingdom of Soleil is holding a funeral for Grandmaster Harold. And Chief of Fleet Ein is addressing and actually giving like a eulogy. And this is all undercut by a scene of the squad all talking and kind of dealing with this. Our captain died. Why is no one showing him the respect? And we're giving respect to the enemy right now, kind of thing. For those Gundam heads out there, this is totally Garma Zabi's funeral vibes, 100%. Dozel's up there speaking, and Garma dead.
R.I.P. Garma. Gardna.
R.I.P. Garma.
This is when the manifestation happens that turns our beautiful potato boy Huey from an asshole who loves throwing out death flags to someone who's legitimately should be on a list. Someone needs to be looking after this man, and it's going to become more obvious in the next episode, but like the demoralization.
The demoralization is real.
Those last 2 episodes were, I think, the weakest in the whole show, personally.
Honestly, could have been 1. I would have loved if it was.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I kind of know why they didn't, but I also would have loved if that was more fast paced and intercut, and we really showed.
I mean, the issue that you run into is shows get shorter and shorter, and this applies to anime, but this also applies to like prestige TV and things. As the format moves from like 36 to 24 episodes down to 12. And I mean, as low as 8. I've seen some shows now that have gone down to 8.
Yeah.
There's this compression that happens where it's like sometimes when you compress a story, it gets tighter and the writers have less time to flop around, so they have to get in, make their point, and get out. But also, like, the cost you pay for every once in a while a really good, succinct scene is so many scenes do not get to breathe. And so you end up in a thing where your pacing just feels like it's all over the place. Like, say what you will about 24 to 36 episode seasons and them being too long and having too much filler or whatever, but like you have plenty of time to let things develop and breathe, and we're not getting that nowadays, whether it's anime or other TV shows. And anyway, that's my screed. I hope the writer's strike changes that, at least in prestige TV.
Yeah.
So next episode, which, did I already announce it?
Nope. Give us the title.
I think I did, but just in case. Episode 11, The Resolve of 2. Never guess who 2 those are.
It's Huey and his fucking death flags.
We have the most... this callback. They have the exact same scene they had when we were first introduced to the Empire troops, where they're in the tent, Lily working out, Pierce is doing his little magic puzzle shit, but now they have Guy instead. And
he's on TikTok. He's watching the funeral for Harold.
So Lily's like, hey guys, I had this great idea. Why don't we like start sending part of our paychecks home to the orphanage that our dead commander Dilf used to send money to? Wouldn't that be a nice way to honor him? And your boy comes in.
Again,
he's not hot on it.
He has, hey, can I come in with the Huey report?
Huey report.
Hey, it's Nico, the podcast Huey Understander. This man has gone from I'm going to make Gallows humor to they need to be very aware of where Gallows are and where he is in proximity to them. He has given up on living. And like, it's super depressing for everyone, but he's literally, my note here is he is trying to commit suicide by Kingdom Soldier. Like, he's done. He's doing reckless shit in battle. He is saying shit that is, it's like breaking up the unity of the squad. Like,
we get the most beautifully drawn forest in the series for this weird chase scene.
Oh, I will say something important at the very beginning of this episode, why the guy is watching the YouTube shorts. And this becomes important later because it kind of frames the end of this series and this conflict. The Empire holding a funeral for Commander Harold is causing desertion at incredible rates among the remaining kingdom forces who are already low. Like, the kingdom is already, again, all they know how to do is cede territory, lose soldiers, have important people die for the princess, and lie. Like, this is all they know how to do. Yeah. But they are seeing desertion at unparalleled rates because, one, they lost the capital, then they lost Izana, and then they lost Harold. So they've lost, and the princess is basically in exile. They've lost like all of their leading apparatus. Apparently the Senate only shows up for 2 meetings a year.
Yeah,
so everyone is deserting.
They got those French working hours in the Senate.
Yeah. Hey, but in good news, Stella finally gets a punch in on Huey, so...
Yeah.
I wanna talk about the fight between Huey and Stella. So they're talking, and Huey's spouting his bullshit, and Stella comes in and gives him the right hook of God. He's about to fight their interim commander and is giving him some shit like, oh, who cares? If you die, they're just gonna replace you too, blah, blah, blah. And gets slammed, and they have this like fight where they're, hold me back. But Huey says 2 lines to Stella that I love, which are, you need psychiatric help, which, true of everyone
Pot
here.
calling the kettle black, though.
But then he says the problematic phrase, you gotta screw loose. But yeah, they both get a good punch in on each other, which, as we know, is the way to end any conflict with your friends.
And I will say, he is like floored by Stella's punch, and Stella barely budges. She took a punch like 800 times better than he did.
Well, because in the original version of this, she punches and he catches it and he shoves her to the ground, just bosses her. And in this one, he knocks her and she just stands there and fully takes it. Doesn't even move.
Love to see a girl boss winning.
We learned that the Empire's logistics are such that they can't electronically deposit your payday. You have to bring your iPod to one of the payday
bring
benches.
Your Zune.
And they find that Huey capitulated and donated to the orphanage. Cute. Aww. But after this whole conversation...
And he's drinking. I do need to say that.
Lily is sitting there.
He's drinking alone.
Again.
Lily's sitting there and the power in her fishbowl goes out. And she sets it down and she's like, I don't need this anymore. I'm good. And she walks away.
Fish ore ran out of batteries. Time to embrace death.
This is another scene that I was like, animation.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. Like not good bad.
So we get an announcement. Hey, the kingdom's got a message, so we have to pipe it directly to all of our soldiers with no filter. Military ops.
Yeah, this is how this happens.
Just like apparently the kingdom just like took the Empire broadcast of the funeral of Harold and pumped it out to their citizens.
Yeah.
Who are then like, we got a dessert. Guys, number 1 rule, don't show enemy propaganda to your soldiers. Bad idea.
This is what the world looks like if you don't have journalists. Everybody's just broadcasting shit directly to each other.
And they basically show a video and they're like, hey, we created big gun. It shoot good. And we're going to use this to take back the capital.
Princess Yuki announces she has developed the nuke. She is escalating.
Okay, so we got to talk about this. This is all a metaphor for escalation to nuclear war, right? Like this
it's not even a subtle metaphor.
Okay.
That's why I made my comment. If only we had the button during the Cold War that could turn off all nukes.
So we then come up to the big final battle on December the 5th.
Alice, what is this flower called?
A poppy?
Red spider lily. No, it's a red spider lily.
I thought it was a spider lily.
Red spider lily.
I have only ever seen this in like horror games and like anime gore images.
What the fuck? What does it mean in anime? You know?
I don't know, other than shit's about to be bad.
It's a sign of death.
Yeah. I know. But I was just like, the whole field. It's covered in blood.
So our regular giant plane that we have war in now is covered in spider lilies. Anyway, so we get lines on maps in which we find out that our Empire main cast has been sent far to another part of the front to just run interference while this giant battle is happening.
I was not clear on why this happened for plot convenience.
Maps,
I know, on a meta level.
Maps and nouns.
But I was trying to figure out like what the Empire, like what the goal was of sending the squad super far away.
So they do say kind of before this that they're like, we need to send our forces here to stop them because they're going to the old capital with this mega gun, increase border security because it's obvious that they're trying to launch a counterattack with this. And when a counterattack comes, you strengthen all of your line, not just where you think they're going to attack. And so I just assume a lot of this show, the squad's just kind of sent everywhere. And so I'm pretty sure they were like, this is a free squad. We can just deploy it over here.
Yeah, I needed at least that logic, because I knew on a meta level why they got sent here, which is so that the show can end.
Yeah,
but
the meta level, we need you to run into the other main cast.
Yeah.
So they're standing there looking through binoculars, which is what you do when you have mechs with giant cameras that can see long distances.
It's crazy.
And they're kind of, it's her and Huey, and they're jazzing each other, Stella and Huey, and he razzes her and she responds with, "I could beat you to an inch of your life."
Yeah.
Cold.
She snapped. I love her.
Stella's cold as fuck.
Stella is fully gone. She's like, the one man I cared about is dead. My dad is dead.
My dad is dead. My wife, she does not look too good either.
My wife ain't looking great.
So we go back to, this is the first time we've done this in the middle of an episode,
same
right?
episode,
Yeah.
we switch back to the kingdom. This is the first time they've been in the same episode.
See, we're running out of budget.
So they're having second meeting with Senate. We've had first meeting with Senate. Why not second meeting? In which they're like, "What are you doing, Yuki? We can't win this war." And she's like, "This is the only way we're gonna win. We can't. We're not gonna win a war of attrition."
Are you gonna back me up with my big fucking gun, or are you gonna capitulate like some kind of Democrat? And all of the senators are like, "Yeah, no, all right, gun."
Right? What did you say about the kingdom? It's just full of people who want to lie to each other.
Yeah.
But finally, Yuki.
She has this whole background plan. She's not telling any of them. And she walks up there and she's like, if you don't support gun plan, you're gay. And they're like, "Oh, I support gun plan. I support gun plan 100%.
No, listen to me. I support gun plan."
If you don't support gun plan, you gay is the official stance of OSG Pod.
I wish we had merch, because that would be a shirt.
Keep that. If we ever get more than your mom listening to us, I want our first item of merch to be that as a sticker that no one will know because they didn't listen to the 3 Price of Smile episodes, because everybody on Reddit says it's like excruciating how much detail they go into this mid-anime. But like real OG OSG fans or OSG fans, they know.
OSG fans.
OSG? Anyway, so Yuki has a secret plan. And apparently she met with Layla in a moonlit night. And they discussed, this is all kind of fucked up. The planet's going to die. But we know that we had a MacGuffin device somewhere.
We had the contrivance tower.
I will say this is interesting, at least in terms of the conversations with Layla, because there are 3 conversations that have happened in one day, and this is the first time we get the third. Because I believe it was episode 9 or 10, we see the morning, which is the baptism of Seal, the Herald's, or Izana's kid, their kid. So that's what happens in the morning. And then we get an afternoon shot of them talking, and I forget what that conversation was about. Anyway, they've been standing in some kind of pavilion, and they keep doing an establishing shot of that pavilion. And so this is the third time we get that shot, and now it's a cool evening scene. And so we see the third conversation that's happened over the course of her day, which is her coming to this decision. We're going to hide nuclear disarmament, the last place they expect to find it, which is under nuclear armament.
Didn't know where you were going with that. Worth the journey. Thank you. So the Empire of Verde, Salsa, was creating a device to power up all the Krars because they saw what was coming, which we now know is that if we continue to develop advanced Krars, we are going to kill the planet for certain, and we won't be able to live on it anymore.
I love this concept. This is like, imagine if the Queen of England found a button left behind by the ancient Egyptians that could stop the Cold War.
It's insane. It's so silly.
So we learn what Yuki's true resolve is, which her resolve throughout the series is to end war. Yeah. And there is apparently a button to do so.
It is literally an easy button. And I'm not very convinced of the logistics of reactivating this old technology. Like, it's summed up as, we have the technology to make it work now. And it's like,
they didn't have the technology when they originally built this, but the kingdom is so advanced.
We just have it now.
We just have it now.
This is funny to me, though.
Like, so I suspect at this point, and I turn out to be 100% correct, they're just going to get there and be modern enough to type good enough on a thing to make it happen right.
No, I think it's even funnier. I think we found the machine that they built to turn off uranium, and finally we've mined enough uranium to power it. It's stupid. This show is stupid.
So here's the two-part plan.
I'm glad we did 3 episodes.
We're going to send the remaining forces and Big Gun to face off against the Empire's main forces. And we're going to use
on
Big
the field
Gun,
of spider lilies.
On the field of spiders. And the Big Gun will scare them to buy us time. Because as you know, when you see Big Gun, you stop and think about war for a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all. I get scared when I see Big Gun.
And while they do that, we're going to go all the way into our remaining territory
maps
until we get to the old Empire of Verde territory.
This is an all-time look at maps episode.
10 out of 10 look at maps, 3 out of 10 fire Big Gun. We'll talk about it.
So they're taking just Yuki because she has to go do it herself because the resolve of Yuki, et cetera, et cetera. She's taking the twins.
Well, see, here's the problem. When you have a kingdom, there's only one person who can press a button. But when you have an empire where all people are disposable pawns, anyone can press a button.
Because they're disposable pawn. So we then get the payoff, which is Yuki has to go. She goes to tell the little girl, I got your dad killed.
Bruh.
So
she confronts her younger self.
She goes to Isaiah's family's house because she told the mom that she was going to tell this girl that the dad's dead. And the mom respected that wish.
Listen, it's the princess. What the fuck are you supposed to say about it?
What if we spread Maze Hughes' death out over 4 fucking episodes? And his daughter was just still crying at the end, 4 episodes later.
I love this because what the show does a lot is it will allude to people recollecting things that we've seen. And so in this case, like, she's like, Noelle, I have to tell you. Cuts to outside shot of the house and then immediately back in. She's yelling at Yuki, you're a fucking liar. A kingdom of liars.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Finally, the truth speaker.
Yeah, so cool. The kid knows. This is so... Come on.
So she goes out and she asked, oh my god, I forget her name again.
It's Layla. And I cannot emphasize enough how much Yuki and Layla look like they're dressed to play Final Fantasy XIV in the middle of a normal village.
They're cosplaying Final Fantasy XIV.
They are, I'm worried by pay-to-win items in a cutscene vibe, really.
Yeah.
So she comes out and she's sad and she asks Layla, how do you get past it doing this? And Layla gives the advice of, you smile, Yuki.
It's so crazy. This is so clumsy.
So here's where we get to my favorite part. We then see a shot, and this is a picture we've seen since the beginning of the show, of Yuki with the 4 people closest to her. Harold, Layla, Joshua, and Izana. Now, let's ask ourselves, how many of these people are still alive in this moment?
I just got it. Oh, God.
So this whole show has been leading up to what we're going to see the next episode.
This is what I'm saying. People are literally underhanded softball tossing their lives at her feet like they're just throwing away a fucking old burger wrapper. It's crazy. And the fact that Layla, what are we supposed to do with the fact that Layla's comforting advice and inspiring, sad, somber, bittersweet moment with Yuki is the exact same logic that was used to completely gaslight and abuse Stella. What are we talking about? What are we supposed to... what?
Yeah. It's almost like the writing on this show had something it wanted to do, but couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So it just repeats its central thesis, which is smiling. Smiling, it's so important.
So anyway, we were talking about how this was a nuke, right? Is this what we're doing? Is the nuke now?
We're doing the nuke.
The quote-unquote nuke.
They're doing the shot into the field of spider lilies.
So we then go back, they shoot, you can have 1 nuke for fun.
Look,
and
we as a society have seen a lot of big guns get fired, okay? We've seen the Sister Ray. We've seen that gun from Evangelion. We've seen all the Gundams ever.
Trebuchets.
Girls in Panzer.
Trebuchets.
The movie.
Girls in Panzer.
Macross.
This has got to hands down be the worst firing of a big gun I have ever seen.
It's so lame.
It's so lame, you guys.
They're like, oh, it's so powerful. And then this is what it does. It does
it's so...
It could take out 1 carrier per shot.
No shade, because I know Alice likes the show. This looks like a shot from RWBY.
What?
But this was produced by an anime studio.
Was that an insult to RWBY and also this show, or how am I supposed to interpret that? Because if you say it looks like RWBY,
yeah, no, that was me. I'm firing blindly into the crowd.
Is it not? Is it RWBY? Or is it not Ruby?
It's Ruby.
Oh, okay.
I don't watch it, so I say it like a fucking weirdo.
It's pronounced Ruby.
Nico said, I don't listen to K $, ha.
All right, let's get back to this lame ass fucking gun. It sucks.
So we then so then they're like, okay, we're escaping, and blonde guy is driving the APC. Rich blonde guy.
Who is this man? We've never met this man.
So
but the Vanquishes are here.
Attack on Titan. We've gotten Connie from Attack on Titan, and now we have Reiner from Attack on Titan.
They were running out of budget. They called him and just saw if he was available.
Yeah. I love this scene because we established that they can't take many people with them. So she takes the twins in their mech and a squad. Now, when you're transporting a head of state, do you bring bodyguards, any soldiers? No, you bring mechs. That's it. Only mechs.
Make sure to let her be in the room made of windows also.
Oh my god, so
why the fuck are the blinds not closed?
Like, what are we doing?
She's gonna get JFK'd in there. If the Empire was serious about its shit at all, she would have been JFK'd right here and the world would have ended.
So, take out one ship in the war. That's all I'm saying. So, we then have a moment where we get another death flag. They're talking in this ship.
Yeah, Yuki and Layla.
Again.
Bitches will not stop talking.
Yuki finally asks, hey, you like lost somebody, right? I can kind of tell that you're sad about war, too. She's like, yeah. And so she tells her, yeah, I worked there, and then a building crushed my kids, so I joined the kingdom because I didn't want to go back to the Empire, and then I saw your smiling face, and that made me want to go on.
So this is I have to talk about a thing that we haven't talked about that I think we've all known the whole time.
Yes.
Which is that nobody up to this point has talked about, in the show even, has talked about how Layla in that flashback was wearing a Grand Deacon uniform. We have seen that she was from the Empire this whole time. We have seen that she has the same hair color as Stella, and we have seen that they have the same beauty mark at the same part of their face. I'm just saying, this is a full confirmation of facts as we've seen them so far, and that we're going to be so dramatic about this reveal when it happens. Just landmarking this right here.
They tried to play it so hard as a red herring.
It's so funny.
But we all knew it was going to be the most easy answer, which is...
All they had to do to make this slightly surprising is remove Goldfish Orb from the show, and they were unwilling to give it up because it was in the title sequence.
You're so correct. This was in my notes. Like, the plot critical Goldfish Orb is...
If they had removed it, it would have been it still would have been obvious, but it would have been way more of a reveal. But the kid had a goldfish orb before and after being crushed.
And we'll talk about this when we get there, but I love the fact that she gets rid of it, it's given back to her, and then she just loses it again anyway.
Okay, but that makes for one of the cooler shots at the end of the show, so I forgive it.
Okay. We'll get there, I guess.
All right.
The girl proximity is closing rapidly.
The girls are... So, as all wars go, two girls slowly come... Okay. So, how a nuclear fission causes an explosion is you have to shoot one supercharged neutron, or a girl, into a supercritical pile of plutonium, or a girl. And so, as this show goes on, we are shooting...
Stella.
We're shooting Stella very slowly at Yuki until they explode.
Yeah.
This all checks out. This was all in Oppenheimer. I think Nolan handled this really beautifully.
And I'm so glad that they gaze at each other longingly and hold hands during the intro, so this can't have any fucking weight to it whatsoever.
It ruins their meeting so badly.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
So, episode 12, The Price of Smiles.
It's fun. See, this is why I kept going. Alice, please tell me the name of the episode so that when we got to the last episode, you could say, hey, it's episode 12, The Price of Smiles.
This is The Price of Smiles. The Price of Smiles is 1,000 orphans and one battery dead goldfish orb.
Three. No, the orphans aren't dead. They're just orphans. All of the parents.
Oh, wait, did I say dead orphans?
Oh, yes.
You said dead orphans.
We're talking 2,000 dead orphan parents. Minimum, possibly more.
Grandiga is a fuck, 2,000 dead orphans, kill them all.
So we have the worst chase sequence of all time where all the fighting happens off screen. Are you okay? Are you dying?
I'm sorry. We then so bad
we
with
then
that.
have this scene where
the
chief of staff talks to Palpatine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. Anime Palpatine.
Lily
has taken a vital photo. She's up on the ridge with the squad. They see this convoy that turns out to have Yuki in it rolling through, and she gets the snap of the century on her Nokia. She gets a picture of Yuki, and she's like, hey, is this the fucking princess?
Hey,
should we tell somebody?
How come that was your camera lens and not a gun?
Yeah, right. JFK her right now.
What are we talking about?
But yeah, Lily gets the shot, and the squad is like, we should probably text this to Chief of Fleet Ein.
I want to go in a little deeper on this, which is she shows it to her squad and says, what do you make of this? And they all go like, And then Stella pipes in with the great addition as they are all staring at a picture of the most unique Final Fantasy character design you've ever seen. And she says, that's her. I know it. Bitch, we've all seen her on TV in the same outfit. Everyone knows that's her.
Girl, she has been wearing that airplane wing for 12 years.
It's a stealth mission. Gotta wear the dress.
She just made the nuke announcement in this outfit. That's literally the photo they pull for comparison. This show.
So they identify her and they're talking and they're like, oh, they're heading to the old Empire of Verde Salsa. And then she's like, oh, I figured it out. They know what to do with that. We didn't destroy that facility. The Emperor demanded it, which gives us the facts that the Empire of Grandiga killed the Empire of Verde, and they obviously know that the Krars are bad? Question mark?
They know the Krars are bad.
This was established earlier. So Chief of Fleet Ein had this information, and this is where Izana got a hold of it. He got it from the information that she brought with her to the capital.
But it also seems like more people know about it than just the Emperor and the Chief of Fleet.
I think it's because Ein has more, like, as the war's going on and they've started to win it, I think she has more operational flexibility. She's definitely in charge of things on the ground.
This is specifically to cover the plot hole of why did Grandiga leave a giant contrivance tower in the middle of an open field when they were destroying the old empire? And she says it's because they think that they could have programmed it to only destroy one side's Krars.
It could be their MacGuffin to destroy the enemy.
That's what this serves the purpose of.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, okay, so why didn't they have any guards around that tower then?
Yeah. And also, it's like an hour away. What's going, like, why? How big is anything? How far away from anything is anything?
It takes them a day.
We've seen a lot of maps.
How many maps have I seen and I still have no idea?
It literally takes them a day, I swear to God, because it's evening when they catch her going across the border, and they make it to this thing, which is all the way in the north by midnight. So like 6 hours tops, right? Yeah. And that's the length of the map. That is longer. That is not even as long as it takes to drive across my state. Like,
yeah.
If I wanted to go visit Alice right now, it would take longer.
It would.
Campfire sequence, they've got to have their version.
So they have their own campfire sequence on the Empire, because despite chasing the sovereign of their enemy, we got to stop and take a break.
Well, this made me laugh because this made me think that they had an information relay delay, because they had to text the photo to Chief of Fleet Ein and then hang and start their fire and have their dinner. And then at the end of their dinner, finally they get the text back that's like, yo, kill her. But this is when Huey gives back the dead goldfish orb, and it's like, hey, you dropped this queen.
So weird, bro. Like, what?
They get there, Yune sets up defense, and they go in, and we figure out that all they needed to make this work, as you said, is their own little nuke, which they had in one of the trailers.
More uranium, more good.
And so they go up, they type on computers. That's all it took. It turns on perfectly. And then, oh no!
This is the part, Brian, that you called out, where Layla is typing on the computer, and Yuki goes, oh, that's right, you used to work with Krars, and she's like, yeah, I'm remembering, while she types fast as fuck.
She's doing the Lucy typing on 2 laptops in the plane thing.
Can we talk about the the animation here where she's typing, but her hands aren't moving.
It's so bad.
And it's so obviously
so
CGI.
bad.
It's so bad.
It's not great.
So they do that. They turn it on. Empire attacks. They're like, oh no, they're getting in.
This fight is actually okay, I think. The water fighting could look worse.
Can we talk that they get a report from Yune that the enemy's attacking and he's cut off, and we're like, oh shit, Yune's fucking dead? Spoiler, he's not. But yeah, there's this cool fight between the two sides that we know. So we're finally getting a smash down fight.
And we're seeing them in their cockpits. Because normally what happens when these two sides fight, whichever side we're on at the time, whether that's the Empire or the Kingdom, we see inside their cockpits, we see those characters. And then the others are faceless, like it was with Gale. This is the first fight where we are seeing inside the cockpits of both sides as they engage each other, which is cool.
It is.
So we can see the Vanquishes getting their asses kind of beat.
The Vanquishes, who are part of the Royal Order of Knights and are supposedly so powerful, cannot go toe-to-toe with 4 Empire mechs. That's it. That's all I
as we know, these are our most special little guys. So
Stella gets
Stella's
shot
mech
down
gets knocked out
really fast. And then blonde guy tries to take Stella out and gets fucking shot.
Reiner gets unceremoniously executed.
She's so hot.
But yeah, as Stella gets out of her mech, the dead goldfish orb falls out. This will be important later.
Rolls off, falls in the water, and she's like, instead of going back for it, she doesn't need it anymore. She can leave it there, and she walks away.
So wait, why was this the cool shot for you, Nico? I want to know.
You'll see it later. I think it may actually be part of the post-credit scene.
It's in the epilogue.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I completely missed that then. So then, I'm excited to talk about it because I have no idea.
So Stella heads in and she's going to do her Metal Gear shit. She is, as far as I know, Solid Snake.
Colonel, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm into the Verde capital.
She's doing a all-kill stealth.
Yeah.
Except for she is suddenly taken by a mood of, I'll shoot at the display because this random woman is dressed better than everybody else, I guess. I'm not convinced she has a reason to not just waste Layla right here. I'm very confused.
They lampshaded it because this whole series, the Empire has just been capping people, no remorse, no hesitation.
Yeah.
Stella is going in, she is capping people, no remorse, no hesitation, and she walks up behind Layla, and I mean, obviously the expectation, everybody's like, oh my god, she's about to shoot her mother.
Well, she fucking murks the other guy that we've never seen before that's helping Layla.
Right next to her.
Yeah.
So this is where we finally get, we're in it, boys. This is it. Our main casts are interacting. So we get a scene where Layla is talking to Stella because Layla sent Yuki up because she's like, I have to stay behind and type on computer.
Somebody has to go press big stop war button.
We finally got our last scene of, you go ahead, Yuki, I'll fucking die for you.
Yep.
And then a terrible disease they have a conversation, whatever, who gives a shit, but Layla suffers the same disease that everyone in the series has, which is death by being crushed by the ceiling falling disease. It's affecting a lot of people.
It's so dangerous. You've got to wear PPE.
This is so it's so hammy. It's hammed up to the max.
Yeah, it's really bad.
They're talking with Layla, looking away from her, and she turns around and she sees the beauty mark on Stella's face. Because as we know, beauty marks, hereditary.
Yeah.
You get them from your mother, and she has the same beauty mark as Layla, wrong side, but they're looking at each other and they're like, oh my god, you have a beauty mark. Oh my god, me too. Wait, where is it? We ran out of beauty mark animation budget.
It shows it when she's like dying. And then also, one of the least satisfying things about this whole thing is that we never really see Stella put it together, and I hate that
Stella never quite puts it together.
She literally says she's still a child, take care of her, and then after, of course, Stella goes to try and save her, but we get like the same amount of blood quantity of the dead child. And she goes on, and then after she's gone, Layla is like, my dear daughters.
That laid me out a little bit. I have to admit it right now. That laid me out a little bit.
Well, we had a couple of scenes where, as they're going to do this, Layla comforts Yuki by holding her to her chest because, spoiler, Yuki is still a child. And she's like, would my mom have done this if she was still alive? And she's like, yes, she would. And we get
so stupid.
Oh
that line was so... We can't trust the audience to understand this is a mother-daughter relationship.
We get a great elevator scene. One of the best.
I loved this part of Mass Effect 3.
As Stella's going up, she remembers all of the people who have died in this war, which is 2 dudes that she knows of.
Haunted by the memories of your dead comrades.
And so... hey guys, where's the button on...
Big button.
Where's the big button? That's right. It's on the top of the tower. Just out there. No safety railing. They're being whipped by wind. And so finally Stella meets Yuki and holds her at gunpoint because she's a child and probably an orphan. Wait, she is!
She is an orphan!
Orphans at gunpoint.
Old orphans at gunpoint! She's a double orphan. Not only did she lose her biological parents, Layla just died. And so did everyone else who raised her. Wow. Stella's really going for the powerful record on orphan gunpointing.
She has a high score on holding orphans at gunpoint.
I love this. To like, look at this. She has terrible stance, by the way.
There's a couple of shots of her holding that gun where it looks like she's like, I don't know why.
Have I ever held a gun in my life? I've never held a gun in my life stance.
This conversation, literally goes straight up and straight down between ham and like, actually, that's kind of a good thing. Like a fun line.
Let's get into it. I want us all to talk about our opinions about this plan. So they're going to turn off the Krars, which turns off all the Krars, which will effectively turn off not only the weapons of war, anything that used them, right?
Yeah.
So Yuki wants to do this and turn off, because Stella originally is like, oh, you're just going to turn off the kingdoms. And she's like, no, I'm turning them all off. So they're like, okay, we're going to turn this off. And it's come up a bit before, but it's like, this is going to make a lot of people miserable, right? Like, this isn't just going to turn off the weapons. It's going to we saw a whole facility be powered down because of this. What about the hospitals that are powered by Krars? What about the food growing that's powered by Krars? What is posited by this is we need a way to actually stop war, because if war continues, we're just going to have another war. Even if we stop war right now, with one of us being the victor, there's going to be another war. War just is an inevitability of human conflict.
Yeah.
But we turn off all the power, we might not have war. And the people I know will stop dying because I'm alive right now. What are your thoughts on this? Which would you, we're going to say it right now, would you press the button to turn off the Krars?
I would. And I have to say, I do think that I have to push back on your summation of the premise a little bit, because Yuki does specifically say, I know this isn't simple. I know this is going to cause a lot of problems. It's not about, oh, I hope this ends all war. It's about this specific thing that we're doing with this war right now is going to literally end the planet. We won't get a chance to do more war because this is a problem that we have to turn off. And it's like, I have to, I
want to add on to that.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes.
Who here knows that? They have kept this, they know this information. The kingdom has this information.
I think only Yuki would know. Yuki knows, because Yuki was at the demonstration.
Why is she not just releasing that to everyone and being like, guys, if we keep using this, it's gonna kill we're all fucked.
Because the Senate is gonna hold a session and it's gonna be 500 years and everybody who makes the guns is gonna pay off the senators and it's gonna be a.
But she's like, I have to sacrifice my credibility and do this. Release the data in advance. Be like, hey guys, tell them, do a dead drop, record a video to be sent out before you press button to be like, hey guys, we have all this we have all this information that proves this. Here it is. Before somebody flips the switch to turn off all the power, we're going to let everybody know why we're doing that. Try and win some favor.
I think the thing is, so this is the, Brian, you were going. Why don't you finish your thought there on why you would hit the button?
I mean, I just think that it's on one layer, which is kind of the simple, bottom of the barrel, lowest hanging fruit layer, it's a needs of the many pragmatic decision of unfortunately, because of society, the people who are going to suffer because of this decision are going to probably be the least enfranchised people. On the other hand, in order to address those problems, we have to have a fucking future. Mm-hmm. So I need to press the button. That part of it is simple to me. I think this dilemma is really interesting, though, and I really like the way this plays out because, or I don't know that I like the way it plays out. I like that this is here because it is on one hand, who are you to unilaterally make a decision like this? Even if you do send out a video, because the people in hospitals, all they're going to know at the end of the day is that they lost their family because life support machines were turned off all over the world.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll build off of that. So I think part of the fantasy of this show is that you have a ruler who is more invested in the happiness of their people than any of the other levers of politics. And so you have someone who is a monarch with ultimate authority, which is not really something we have anymore in any nation that is this empowered, who can make this decision unilaterally and apologize later, but not have to consult an emperor, a head of fleet, other people in a military hierarchy. All of her advisors are fucking dead. Like, she can just unilaterally make that choice, and that's part of the fantasy of this, because they're yelling at each other. They are having a conflict of ideology. When I was clowning on Uni Vanquish in the beginning for almost making a critique of the monarchy, but then stepping down and doing a big and everyone clapped moment for Yuki.
Yeah.
This is the moment, because Yuki is literally yelling at Stella, I want to believe that people are good. If I can turn this off, we can figure this out, but this will stop the war. And, you know, Stella's holding a gun on her, and it's like, she says, that is just what someone raised in a palace would say. You have no understanding of the reality on the ground and the struggles that people are having. And that's when Yuki counters, like, I understand that this is complicated and that there are going to be costs that I can't even think about right now to making this decision. But like you said, Brian, if no one presses the button, we don't have a future to figure it out. And this is where I see this show is not only talking about like nuclear war and disarmament and that kind of thing. It's an environmentalist piece.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Because this is
100.
literally, if you, not only could you press a button and end all war, could you press a button and turn off all cars, could you press a button and turn off all polluting energy sources right now, even knowing that coal power plants power hospitals, even knowing that there are technologies that are killing us that we are currently reliant on. And this is the struggle I think a lot of people who have revolutionary politics run into.
Yeah.
Because as nice as it is to say, tear it all down, let's start over, the first people who die in the revolution are not the corrupt, it's the people on ventilators. Like, that's what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And this show has flattened it to an extent. Like, we never see a hospital powered by a car. We just see, like, the cabbage place. But it made hunger an obvious issue for the people here. And then it kind of fails it. But I do think that this moment, this ideological conflict, is really interesting and actually shows that there was a thesis for this show that talks about weapons and it talks about the environment and, like, what does the future look like? And what if we had a fantasy where one good soldier and one person with ultimate power could make a decision in the interests of everyone and they actually cared about people? Like, that's the fantasy of the show to me, so I really liked it, and I would slam that button.
They really said if we had a truly selfless leader, communism could work. And I'm here to say, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Have we invented turbo linen? Holds up a picture of Yuki.
Turbo linen.
I have been withholding a comment that Yuki just really wants to be Relena from Gundam Wing, but does not have the Riz in even the slightest amount to pull it off.
I feel like she did it a lot faster than Relena. That's what I'll say.
She certainly didn't take 50 episodes to do what Relena did.
I'm gonna say I'm a Herald agreeer, which is
of course. I love you so much, but of course.
We need to address and finish this war before we can address that, because even they point out it's going to be like 2 centuries before this kills the planet, actually. So let's win this war first so that you can enact your policies.
See, that's the policy. That's the practice of incrementalism, right? It's this idea, because I agree, like, you were talking about, like, what if they just released all this data beforehand and we had a chance to talk about it? And, like, yeah, if she released the data beforehand, they wrapped up the war, everybody would have time to get people out of hospitals powered by CRARs. We could debate how we want to shut this down. There would be so many things happening politically that need to happen to minimize harm to populations from a theory of statecraft.
Yeah.
But
that's also something...
we see it in real life where, like...
yeah,
we know global warming is real. That's the official stance of the pod.
And this year, officially,
fact.
we have shot past...
Don't put that in here. Don't make this a sad podcast. This is happy. I don't need whatever fact you're about to drop. Because,
I don't need it either.
Anyway, I like that they do it. I like that they make a stance, and I agree with what they end up doing in this world. I also want to say that I really like when... So she can't press the button, or either through... her own emotions, she can't pull herself to do it. Or,
yeah, that was my joke. It's like, I don't know that her 12-year-old arms are just too weak to press the big button, but Stella's going to be there and lend her 17-year-old
Stella
arms.
tells her that it takes passion and will. So we need to discuss which of these two is passion and which is will.
You know Yuki's passion and Stella's will.
Yeah.
Don't even play games.
One of my favorite.
You don't need passion to point a gun at orphans. You need will.
One of my favorite payoffs in the show.
So they push the button and we get...
Wow, the power of women.
They push the button and a giant rainbow cloud emerges and covers the planet.
The nanomachines are gay.
There's a cute song that plays as they press this button and release.
This is actually kind of pretty and kind of rules.
They used the full budget for the last 4 episodes on this sequence of them getting flashbanged by Gay.
Yeah.
And then the Gay goes across the world.
The gay agenda.
And we're not joking. It's literally a giant rainbow effect, and there's multiple shots of it slowly covering the planet, and all of the powers turn off, which, also another note, they were fighting in what I thought was a very deep lake outside of this tower, and they crash, and luckily it's only like 4 feet deep.
Yeah, it's an Elden Ring lake. The Eureka 7 has like almost this exact scene, but better. And one of the things that I think is really funny about this one is I love that it's like everyone sees this happen and then they get out of their mechs and they just kind of like shrug at each other. And the weird like extended shot of it is really funny to me. I don't know.
Like, what would you do?
We've established that these pilots all have guns and stuff, and they're like across from their enemy like, war's over, I guess. Like,
gay is happening. I don't know that we could shoot right now.
I love when the carriers just crash into the ground.
Yeah.
But no, I do love the final shot. If you would like to bring it up,
there's
Alice.
a beautiful shot,
which
is the morning
thing.
They're laying down around the big button that stops war.
They talk about the dawn after, and we get that comment a lot from their dad, Gale, and their mom, Layla, which, as we know, are the parents of these 2 girls.
The parents of us, the parents of the show.
It's literally the morning after war. Like, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Because they keep talking about keep that smile for, the day after. And they're just laying there on top of this giant tower now that this is done, just laying there next to each other. And neither of them has a smile.
And you can finally see why Yuki has been wearing this god-awful outfit this whole time. It's so that her colors would be a perfect inverted contrast from Stella. Now, did it have to look the way it looks? No, but the colors were important.
Sure.
These are the 2 genders.
No, what I loved in the final shot was the bird.
Yep, so they're laying back.
The birds are back.
The birds are back.
I hate this fucking podcast. The birds are back.
Please go listen to the episode on Pat Labor 2 for the full discussion of the symbolism of birds. Anyway.
But yeah, we see the bird flying over, which means, Nico?
The gravity is working normally again.
That's
or
right.
something has fundamentally shifted in the nature and the way that this planet operates. Finally, something is able to take flight. And it's so beautiful and symbolic. And the immediate thought I had after was, did that just evolve? Or have we had birds this whole time and they've just been walking around?
We have birds, but they can only get about 20 feet in the air.
Seagull hell. Like, it's all just like right above you.
Yeah, I like that scene. I think it's a very hopeful scene. It reminds me of In the Road, the last chapter about the fish going upstream.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. Anyway.
This show, The Price of Smiles anime does often remind me of Cormac McCarthy's The Road.
Cormac McCarthy wrote The Price of Smiles, actually.
Last scene, we have an epilogue where they are signing the terms of an armistice between the Empire.
Hey, here's the fucking Emperor. You remember this guy?
So immediately, they give you the follow-up.
Yeah.
Hey, immediately after, the harvests are good again. Like, it is an instant effect.
Don't worry. They fixed it, and nobody has to starve.
But then they're like, but also civil unrest exists. Like, people are taking this
I love that all the people in this shot of the riot gear, the people fighting the cops wearing high-vis vests, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I feel like the animators of the show borrowed the images of unrest, particularly labor versus the state.
Yeah.
But there's nothing in this show that explains what's happening here or gives it any context. So it seems like laborers are just mad that our god princess fixed the earth.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's so wild.
They don't explain it, but you're like, I guess industry died or something and things are tough. Like, it's a really weird way to play, yeah, it was tough after our only main power source got destroyed. But also, trucks exist?
No, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, trucks are fine.
And we just haven't been using them?
It's wild because it's like, they are so dramatic about like, oh, our far future sci-fi society there is only one power source in all the universe.
Now we're using coal.
I've never heard of wind power. I've never heard of hydroelectric. I've never heard of geothermal. What do we do with this? And then all of a sudden gasoline's happening? I don't know. It seems like
I have to optimistically think it's biodiesel.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I
it seems like the primitivism you were talking about is really just like, let's go back to the early aughts.
Yeah. That's the energy, and unfortunately, I think that is the energy of a lot of people who think that they're primitivists. It's like,
let's build back better,
get back
y'all.
Let's build back better to another world where we had ripe, beautiful tomatoes. Don't worry about the rest of what was happening.
Tomatoes and potatoes.
We have to hand grow potatoes and harvest them, I do love this scene. Okay, so did you recognize who was having dinner at Izana's dead wife's house?
No. Who are these fuckers?
These are the people who have always been in the command center with Yuki and Harold.
Oh, these are the guys!
This is them.
This is like the bridge crew?
These are the same people that have always been there with them.
That's so funny. Imagine if you stand up bowl cut girl there and you were like, yo, here she is, my girl.
She got it like that.
And then we get a scene where they're talking about how we get some world building of like the Empire's asking for any information on our like basically the forerunners from Halo that
the
made
pre-Krar technology to help them rebuild.
And we get the scene where we've learned that war was bad with, we have to be careful with this information and technology, says one of the few remaining alive people.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is some senator.
Make sure we're still lying to each other, y'all. Just...
Yeah. And then cut to the cemetery so we can get the full KD ratio.
Cut to a scene of all of the dead people in this series who are just...
It's a full, like, 2 minutes of graves, y'all.
But this is where we get my shot.
Oh.
The fish. We don't need battery-powered fake fish orbs anymore. We got real fish.
I missed that was what that was.
Maybe our technology isn't a replacement for nature healing. It's very nothing, but it was a cute image.
No,
it is a cute image.
Yeah, I loved it, basically. And then Lily is...
The unfathomable power of potatoes.
Lily has decided...
Oh, shout-outs! Yuki upgraded to a worse outfit.
Shut the fuck up! I love her dress in this.
At least it no longer has a whole fucking fuselage attached to it.
Yeah, the fuselage.
But Lily took up Gail's offer and is now running the orphanage. And Yuki has come to visit with the twins, who now have summer casual on.
I gotta say, they did really get me. It was super fucking weird to see these characters interacting. I'm like, you don't know each other.
But apparently, like, we get this kind of like, hey, thanks for letting them go easy, making the Empire go easy on our friend.
Yeah, because that's one thing Stella said in the dome when she was helping press the button was, I'm gonna get fucking court-martialed, but yeet.
We then see that Stella's now a cop. Post-war, that's what she now has to do, and she's helping beat up poor people with the cops.
Oh, Lord.
Foul. But we get an old lady's like, thanks for beating up those people. Here's a bag of potatoes for the orphans.
Potatoes!
I just think they're neat.
And we get our last shot of the scene, which is she walks up and we get them talking. And they're like, we're going to get through this together. And we look over and... So I do love this part. So they give a voiceover through this epilogue, and every other line switches between Yuki speaking and Stella speaking. And it ends with them looking at each other and saying, this is a story of two girls on a planet far, far away. And then we see, the sunflowers you put around Gale's... Did they take Gale here? Did they ship him back home? His mech exploded.
Well, they probably shipped him back to his orphanage. This is as close as he has to family, as far as we know, right?
Because he exploded.
The whole cockpit. It's like Chernobyl. They scraped out what was left, poured cement over it, and put it in the ground.
So she's like, your sunflowers outside of your orphanage are looking good. Or my sunflowers are looking good. And she's like, yeah, the ones back in my palace that I still live in look great.
Hey.
Because I'm a girl from... Yeah.
Is it time for the sunflower minute?
Nico, sunflower minute. Give us our last sunflower minute.
Last sunflower minute of the fact that we somehow did 3 episodes on this show. People have cultivated sunflowers since 3000 BC. There are actually 2 types of sunflower seeds. You may not know this. There are the gray ones that you commonly see in like birdseed and snack packs, and those are really great for eating. But there are also black ones that are really good for oil. So when you're shopping for vegetable oils and you see sunflower oil, that's actually made from a separate seed that grows on the same plant. and some of them can grow up to 30 feet tall. Anyway, back to the pod.
It wasn't a minute.
Listen, I'm trying to move it.
Jesus.
So do the sunflowers look healthy?
Sunflowers look healthy.
We've spoken for, some say, multiple hours about this show, but you know what we haven't?
Do you ever make a 2-month-long mistake, and the whole time you're making it, you're like, I'm gonna keep going? Because that's what we did. That's what we did. No, it was not a mistake. I enjoyed this, I will say.
Wow. This was a lot. We really did a lot on this show.
Bruh.
I'm just gonna put this in here. Shout out to the real ones who listen to all these episodes about a show that is mid as fuck that you should not watch, that we covered in weird ways. We learned a lot in doing it.
We learned a lot.
But you know what we haven't yet done? We haven't rated these goddamn mechs. After all this time, we are going to rate these fucking mechs. So, obviously, I brought this one to the table. Do you want me to just start with me, or would you like one of you to go first? Because
Alice, I do need to hear your justification for the time we've spent our lives.
Okay, I can give that to you real quick.
No, hold on.
No.
Hold on. We have to, in case you're new here, and for some reason you started on the 3rd episode of a weird line of episodes we did. This segment is about rating the mechs, not the media necessarily, although they kind of overlap in the imaginary.
That's why we spend so much time in every episode talking about the media.
Yeah.
We learned our lesson.
Well, there were so many mechs to talk about. Anyway.
I'll go first. So,
yeah.
I like this show. Some might say I'm one of its main fans, and
one of its only fans.
The mechs that it gives us. So the Empire mechs. I love the design of the mechs in this. The way that they all hover, the way that they incorporate melee. The Empire mechs have they look so over-designed and cool and sleek. They just have pointy armor. There are holes in them. And the fact they use shields. I love a mech with a shield. I love the GM in Gundam. I just love a mech with a shield. The weapons are cool. They feel powerful. They hit. Things explode. They're great. The Killinov is weird. I'm not sure about that, but I love the Squire and the Guard are just base. I honestly like that they have multi-purpose mechs, right? But they also have mech. They don't... Designing... I'm going to get on my soapbox. Designing single-purpose mechs that you build one of. A prototype unit, fine. We are at war. You are going to make the same tank. You don't have multiple... You have different kinds of tanks for different kinds of purposes. You don't just make, the fucking one-off cool unit, or maybe, 5 of them. No. You make multiple series. Then we get to Grindiga. Love them. They're functional, but they have their own personality, their style. The way that they look completely different is so cool between the two different factions. I love their weapons. I love a blocky gun. I love a Gatling gun arm. I love just the fact that, the Kingdom has these cool all-around cockpits. They have, glowing suits in their own way, but, the Empire is we got 3 screens in here. We are 08th MS teaming this shit. They're just so functional, but in a way that's cool and worthwhile. And each of them is kind of unique. They're different weapons. I love that they use this weird power source. Anyway, for me, honestly, this is a 9.
Wow.
The mechs in this are a 9 for me because they are just, I love a regular guy. And this is a show about regular guy mechs.
No, it's about 2 girls on a distant planet. Are you even paying attention?
You don't even listen to your own summaries.
I will now read the summary for the price of smiles for the 4th time. Brian, what about you?
Brian.
This is a 6. I do not like any of the visual style of anything the Kingdom touches, except for the Kilbanov, actually. I love its weirdo extending neck.
Yeah.
The Squire and the Knight both are too insectoid for me. I don't like the weird filigree on their hover things very much. But Grandiga looks dope. All of their mechs look dope. They remind me of Metal Gear Ray. Their face shape is super cool in that way. The blue lights are cooler than the pink lights. Their cockpits are cooler to me. And I love the red pauldron thing on the commanding units also. That's like a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so sick. And then, like, you know, you take that, and with just that information, I would have probably given it a 7. Unfortunately, I do have to put my foot down as a firm CGI hater and say that I do think if these were hand-drawn, they would look way cooler to me. Mm-hmm. And so that knocks it down to a 6.
So true, bestie. I agree. So that's good. Nico, what about you?
Yeah, so one thing I've struggled with throughout this, like I think I was the one to call out in the first episode that they were kind of countering the fact that CGI never looks weighty by having everything hover. And I mean, unfortunately, that's a plus and a minus. The energy this show gave me the whole time, there's a reason I brought up Ruby, I guess you pronounce it that way. This show's mechs remind me of Machinima. They remind me of taking the models and ragdolling them around and making them do cool stuff. And people have good animation.
Carrie's mod.
People have good skills with animation, can do some pretty good stuff with rigging. But, you know, there's always going to be a certain weightlessness. And we very rarely see these mechs get battle damaged. And when it is battle damaged, I mean, I assume, from what I saw with the shot where Harold was dying and looking out of his mech where he and Gale had blown holes in each other, that looked hand-drawn. But, like, there are very few instances where we see mechs actually get damaged as opposed to getting shot and kind of falling out of frame.
Fall.
Yeah, very cowboy, very Western style. Clutch your chest and fall out of frame.
Yeah.
And while I liked that both factions had very clear aesthetic divergent sensibilities, like I liked the knightliness. I actually like the filigree. If you're going to have a kingdom, I had such a hard time with the contrast with the kingdom's aesthetics between their like solar punk stuff and then their like medieval looking stuff and their filigreed looking like Western European stuff. And I feel like their mechs kind of got caught in the middle, especially with their hot pink highlights. I just did not care for it. I mean, they're probably more magenta, but, you know, like, I was not there for it. But I did like that it was so different compared to the more utilitarian and maybe insectile look of the Grandiga mechs. And you can see it even in their cockpits. But the cockpits, for me, are where I realized that these are just not my cup of tea. I love a cockpit where you get into it and it's a tight fit, or there's a lot of technical switches and flips and levers, and there's machinery around the pilot that shows you how they control it, whether there's pedals or whether it's more of an interface or a steering wheel or whatever it is. Pretty much every time you see the inside of a cockpit, they look like they are sitting in a chair. Their feet are firmly planted on a flat surface, and there's screens around them. But there's very rarely a sense of how does the human interface with the machine. And so for all that, there is some cool aesthetic sensibilities in play here. For all that, you know, they did their best with CGI to really make these things look cool, despite the fact that they were going to have some of the drawbacks of a CGI designed item. This is a 4 for me. I don't think I've gone below 4 ever, but I'm putting this on the level of Chivo for me because a main thing for me also is having the mechs do anything at any point that makes me go, oh, fuck yeah. I never had that happen with these mechs. Like, I just never did. The closest I got was during the sequence where Lily was talking about we ran out of bullets and we had to beat each other to death. And that wasn't because of the mechs. That was because these people were so intent on killing each other, they just started killing each other with their mechs' own hands. Like, I don't know. This was not it for me. And a big part of it was no special cool moment in particular for the mechs, and no cockpit energy.
Yeah, you have such a good point about how they interface with the machines, because they kind of just yell, and that's all you kind of really see.
And I get it. It's a way more character-focused show, but...
No, that's part of it.
I mean, I'm giving it a character-focused score.
Yeah, and also I think that... showing how your character chooses to interact with their machine, especially in the mech genre, is so key. And so even from a character standpoint, there's really no excuse.
I do want to say it's very interesting to have noted highest scorer on the pod, Nico, to give this such a low score. I think that's very damning, but deserved. I get it.
I felt bad. I always open, well, I've started to do this now that we have done this a lot. I open my score page. And I went and checked. I'm like, okay, what is the lowest score I've given something? Because I knew I was not really feeling this. And it's so funny because on the Jivo episode, Alice, you gave it a 1 and Brian, you gave it a 3. But my lowest score I've ever given anything on the show is a 4. And that says something to me. I feel like I walked away from this show like they did some things cool, but I wasn't really moved. I think for me to go below a 4, you have to sin against me. And this show didn't really sin against me. It just wasn't what I would go looking for.
God, I forgot how cool this shit looks.
Yeah, this page whips. If you have never gone to osgpod.com/ratings to see our mech ratings and rankings page, you need to go. It has incredible GIF work from Alice, and it also has all of our scores in order of average so that you can kind of see where our tastes lie and where we've come down very strongly and made really strong decisions. So,
well, that was The Price of Smiles. We are going to go to a break, and when we get back, we will have a fun little game.
Hey guys, Alice here. So On the Shoulders of Giants is a brand new podcast. We're still getting ourselves started. So if you like what you're hearing and kind of want to hear more of it, maybe leave a 5-star review on your podcasting app of choice, especially if you're on Apple, because that would really help us out. And if you know anybody who might like mechs, point them in our direction. We'd love to hear from them and, maybe they'll like what we're giving out there. Again, if you like us, leave us a note, send us a message, leave us a review. Just, interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. And with that, let's go back to the episode.
Welcome back from the break.
Let's play this game.
Let's play this goddamn game. This game is called Family Feud.
Oh, God.
We're going to war, boys. And if we're going to mech war, we gotta have a family. And as you know, the family you choose for mech war is the family that you as an orphan need in your life. So this game is kind of not as strict and rigid as many of our other games and is requiring you two to do a lot more work that I didn't give you anything to prep for because I wanted your first choice, best choice. So we've got to go to war. You, a mech pilot, need a squad if you're going to go to war. But, I mean, who are we going to have in our war family? We are going to go back and forth between the two of you, and we are going to draft players for our war team. So you are going to pick somebody from a mech media that you enjoy to be on your mech team. Now, here's a qualifier. You are the main character. So you are one of the members of the team. You need to pick a team that is going to stay alive and win this war with you, or end up meeting the other team and pressing a button. So you need to pick 5 mech pilots. They will either come with their mech or we can equip them with a mech, but you need 5 mech pilots. One of those has to be a captain. So you're going to have to designate a captain. Once we have those 5 pilots and your reasons why you would want them on your squad, I am going to score them using a hidden scoring system that I have developed.
Oh, Jesus.
There are parameters that I have written down for how I'm going to give you points for the people that you pick. I'm not going to tell you them. You just have to pick 5 people you want on your team. Based on that score, we are going to decide who wins the family feud, aka the war. All right. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to think about this. So think about it.
Are we restricted by what we've covered so far?
No. Any mech media.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Anything.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Any mech media at all. It can be a mech media you love. You just have to speak to why you want them on your team and tell me which one's your captain.
How many did we need for our team? 5.
You count as 1, and this is a squad of 6 because in The Price of Smiles, both squads are 6 people.
Okay. Okay.
This is hard.
I know, but I didn't want to give you time to prep because I felt like you would come with your perfect lists.
No, yeah, you're totally... No, this makes perfect sense. Okay.
Because we are going to have the one where we sit down and make our perfect list. And...
Okay, I'm just going to have to do my best. Okay. I've got mine whenever you're ready, Bri.
I have one more that I'm struggling with.
You can draft me. I will accept it.
Have you gotten Shar Aznable?
I've never betrayed anyone in my life.
Yeah, see, he'll betray me is the problem.
No, he wouldn't do that. All I've ever heard is that sound clip, so I'm pretty sure he wouldn't do that.
Cut to 15 scenes of Shar Aznable betrayed people. Not that they didn't deserve it, to be fair.
Wouldn't you consider trying to drop an asteroid on the planet Earth betraying people? Fuck it. Okay, I have it. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, thinking time over. So we're gonna go back and forth, and I will be tracking.
I have a question about the game, Alice.
I have an answer.
What do we do if we pick the same character? Because in real life, if you're trying to draft your team, you can't pick the same person.
I'm gonna level with you. I do have a rule for that, but I have so much confidence that the two of you have such differing tastes in
I
mech
just wanted
media.
to know that you had a rule.
There's a rule. If we get to it, you're gonna love it, but if not, we're just gonna have a nice little draft.
I'm in.
So, okay, Brian, your first choice on your roster.
My first choice is my captain. Oh, captain, my captain. Oscar Langley Soryu with Unit 02.
Wow, okay.
Amazing.
That's a bold captain choice.
Why Oscar? Why Oscar Langley?
She rules incredibly hard and fucks shit up like no other character in anime, in my opinion.
Pretty great. And she's German, so...
Yeah, half German.
Great pick. Nico, who is your first draft?
Well, I'll throw out my captain since we're opening with that. I decided to stay in the fine tradition of DILFs. My captain for my squad is Stacker Pentecost from Pacific Rim.
Is this Idris Elba?
This is Idris Elba.
Okay.
Did he pilot a mech?
You're right. You're correct to do that.
Yeah, he does. In fact, famously, he goes on to do the dad sacrifice, at least partially because he got cancer from once having to pilot a mech alone. So not only is he a great pick, he could solo pilot a mech if he had to. Would it kill him? Yes, but that's kind of his job.
It's nice. That's good. Good job. Okay. Brian, who's next on your family?
My number 2, the XO, and there's a reason he's the XO, not the captain. Lelouch Lamperouge in his endgame Shinkiro. What are they fucking called? They're called Nightmare Frames.
They're called what?
They're called Nightmare Frames in Code Geass.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Code
Anyway,
Geass.
he is fully light Yagami pilled, and the reason he's not the captain is because he's fully light Yagami pilled, and I need Asuka to kick his ass and not let him do stupid shit. So
need to Shinji him around. They got to do the dance montage to get good together.
Maybe she can like force feed him once in a while. Also,
go on, mommy. I'm sorry, no, I can't do that. Great, Nico. Who's your second pick? Who's your XO?
So my XO. And I made a last minute change, but I was like, actually, I think this makes more sense. Initially, I was going to have on my squad Brad from Extreme Meat Punks, and I wanted him for his tech abilities. And then I realized as we started playing this that his tech abilities are about meat mechs.
Yeah.
And like everyone else I have is like regular mechs.
Regularly.
So I have swapped him out. We've got a last minute draft change. The XO on this, and I'm basing this presumably on his experience after the events of his show, is Akito Tenkawa from Martian Successor Nadesco, otherwise known as our very special lead boy. So he is a savant mech pilot who's extremely fucking good at doing it, who's been roped into warfare, but all he wants in the goddamn world is to be a cook. And so I really think if we're going to have a second in command, 1, we can have a lot of great team meals. And 2, it helps if everyone in your leadership, like Stacker, is kind of over it. And Akito doesn't even want to be there. So if you want to talk about a team that is going to make sound, rational decisions as opposed to impulsive decisions, I think this is a good leadership structure.
Fair enough.
Good for Akito. Brian, who's your third pick?
My third is Chang Wufei from Gundam Wing in the Shenlong. And I picked him because he's cold as fuck and will absolutely do what he thinks he needs to do to get shit done.
With the tightest ponytail you've ever seen in your life.
Scraped back ponytail.
He keeps running off to do meditation by waterfalls, though, so you get a debuff around waterfalls.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Nico, who is your third?
My third, I need some heat. I've got some very level-headed people, so I decided that my next pick was going to be G0 from Hard Reboot.
Oh, shit.
G, of course, is not only gay, but extremely good at working on limited resources and pushing her machines to the limit. She's a consummate pilot, and she's scrappy as hell. So I thought she would be a good pick.
Very nice.
Damn, that's really smart. I didn't even think about her.
Oh, she gets it. Brian, wait, in Alpha Zero or in her original?
In Alpha Zero. I'm sorry, if we're going in Speedy, she's dead.
I just wanted to give you the option.
Speedy.
I'm presuming this is, well, no, I shouldn't say that because Stacker would be dead. I'm assuming this is everyone at their peak form. Like, we're all grabbing them at the height of their career, I assume.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Which brings us to Brian.
In which case, I do want to point out, in case it's part of the ruling, this is the version of Asuka that can do that weird, creepy blood injection thing.
Good choice.
Anyway, my fourth is Anemone in The Type of the End. Now, fans of Eureka 7 may be asking, now, doesn't she have to be injected with a powerful drug to get her to do combat at all because she doesn't want to do it that badly? And I am here to say, yeah, but also her mech is cool, so I have to have her on my team and give me the
so
drug.
You're standing there with the syringe.
Yes.
Her mech's really cool from what you showed us. Yeah. Just pump them full of drugs. Great. Nico, who's your fourth?
So my fourth pick is an important pick, but is also potentially a trick pick.
A trick?
Trick pick.
So my fourth pick is Li Shimin from Iron Widow. Now, we haven't covered this yet. Li Shimin is a convict who has been put to work fighting on the front lines of the battle. He is extremely strong-willed, and he is the only person I believe he's the only person to pilot a King-class chrysalis, which is what their mechs are called. But he is an extremely solid dude. And the reason he's kind of a trick pick is because mechs in Iron Widow have to be piloted by 2 pilots to function at all. There has to be a male and a female pilot, the yang and yin seats. So I think that Li Shimin would probably come free with Wu Zetian, who is the bad, scary, terrifying protagonist of those novels. So
bold choice. Assuming that I will allow you to have a dual piloted unit.
It's lore relevant.
I could have picked a Darling in the Franxx, and that would have been also 2 pilots, so.
Yeah, I know.
It's very important in his chrysalis, he would have to have Wu Zetian. So. And I do think I should say, because I think it'd be fun, Brian, what role do you think you play on the squad?
Oh.
Because you're part of the team.
I'm the Otacon for sure. I'm doing the Taya. I'm on the bridge from afar, not piloting a mech.
I'm piloting a mech, but I'm comic relief. I'm probably going to die to advance somebody's plotline, FYI.
You're Yonabaru.
So, Brian, who is your last and fifth pick?
No, I might be...
I thought we were the fifth pick.
What?
No, that was 4.
It was we had to pick 4 and then...
No, there's
okay.
5 because
it's
a
additionally
6-man
from
squad.
us, right?
Okay, while Brian answers this, I'm going to Google very fast.
Sorry.
I may be cheating with this one. A little bit. This may be kind of an unfair poll, especially if we're going at the peak of their power. I have picked Simon from Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. And if we were to treat him at the height of his power, that would mean that he is piloting a mech big enough to throw a galaxy like it's a shuriken.
Normal stuff.
Just to note it. I'm not going to say anything else about this character because I want Nico to watch it one day and I don't want to spoil anything.
But those who know how powerful he gets.
Yes.
I also love his mech. So, Nico, do you need another second?
No, I've got it.
Nico, who is your fifth and final pick?
So, if you put me in a box and you say that Li Shimin and Wu Zetian do not get to count as one unit, I will say it's probably Wu Zetian because she is extremely fucking dangerous and I would want her. But if I am getting one more mech pick, I can't counter throwing the universe like a shuriken or whatever, but I'm picking Galotimos because I think we need the energy.
We need his firefighter soul.
Yeah, because like I'm comic relief, but he's actually, despite being a complete dumbass, pretty competent. And I think it would be really good. I feel like there's like a 90% chance we would get in a fight with whatever enemy, and they would accidentally be seduced by his idiocy. So
Plus,
we need him in the pocket.
I mean, his rescue technique is actually very good.
Yeah, actually, and he is a trained medic, so like that's an extremely important skill to have on the battlefield. So I stand by Gallo. Gallo is my fifth pick.
Good pick. So for our scoring, I'm actually going to have you guys calculate. And the reason I'm going to do that is I don't know these characters completely. So our score isn't based on power. Throwing a galaxy like a shuriken doesn't really matter to me. You know what matters to me? 2 things.
Gayness.
You're going to go through your list and you are going to, each pilot is capable, and I'm for your dual pilot situation, but consider both. And we're going to there are 2 points possible for each person, and we're going to calculate that. So I need to go through your list and add a point if they are a child.
Oh, shit.
And a point if they're an orphan.
Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Shit.
And that are the 2 qualifiers.
Shit, I should have chosen Mako instead of Stacker. Fuck.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. I couldn't even calculate all of yours, Brian. I don't know them all good enough.
I've got to Google Akito's age. I can't remember if he's an adult. I did. Yeah, I got lucky. Okay, go for it, Brian.
Okay, Brian, what is your final score?
Okay, my final score is 9.
Jesus Christ. So, out of your 5 picks, which one didn't get a point?
I did not give Asuka the child point because if she can do her freaky blood thing, she's actually like 26 or whatever in that timeline. So,
true, in that timeline.
Yes,
very good.
But she is still importantly an orphan. So.
100% an orphan. Nico, what was your final score?
I could not find a source on whether Akito. I believe Akito is 17, but I could not find a source on that. So that's iffy. My final score was, in fact, if I'm counting Akito as both a child and an orphan, only 5. Yeah, unfortunately, I do read. There's a lot of books in here, and they have a lot less children. But G0, her parents are dead. But she is an adult. Stacker, I don't know anything about his parents. I have to assume they're alive in that case. And he is the daddest dad a dad could be. Li Shimin is an orphan. Unfortunately, Wu Zetian, a lot of her emotional baggage is related to the fact that her parents are alive and well and exerting a lot of pressure on her life. So no points from her, even though it's a dual piloting situation. Gallo's parents are thankfully dead. Shout outs. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Cray Foresight.
Thanks, Cray Foresight. But he is an adult, presumably.
I want to thank the mayor of racism live on the pod.
And then Akito Tenkawa, of course, his parents were famously killed on Mars when the Jovians attacked. And I believe he is 17, but that is a maybe 2 points, maybe 1 point situation because I'm not 100%. But I got to give it to Brian. You went for it. You got out there 9 points. Jesus.
I really enjoyed when Nico rapid fired spoilers for a lot of media I haven't invested in or...
Oh, fuck. I wasn't even thinking about it.
But you know what? The thing about this game is, yeah, Asuka and Stacker both gunned each other down and exploded and died, but... Everybody else is going to live, and we're going to press a button, and everybody's going to turn gay. So there are no winners because we've solved war.
I can't believe there are no winners when Idris Elba fights Asuka Lelesauriu.
War is hell.
And so that's our game. That was Family Feud, and unfortunately we have a flash transmission.
Oh, and this one is urgent. Okay. I've got our flash transmission here.
Over the comm lines.
Dear OSG crew, this is an urgent message. I'm currently in a futuristic sci-fi hub station with the future of my world hanging in the balance. This station houses a magical button that will end war forever by shutting off all power stations. Don't worry about how it works. The only problem is an enemy fighter and my character foil is the one who wants to use it. Unfortunately, our ideologies haven't lined up easily to allow us to realize we have more in common than we thought and gently press the huge stop war button together. She subscribes to an anarcho-primitivist thinking, and as far as I can tell, believes not only is using the big button a net good because it stops war, but also because it'll return humanity to a simpler societal structure where interdependence will force us to embrace each other to survive. I, on the other hand, subscribe to more Hobbesian thinking and believe the loss of society as we know it and its attendant social contracts will return us to a state of nature that is inherently barbaric. We have not been able to resolve this central argument in social philosophy in the last 5 minutes, despite how much we've been shouting and pointing guns at each other. So I put it to you. Is the inherent nature of man good or evil? Do our worldviews lack consideration of care ethics and the fullness of human psychology? Should we make out? Again, this is time sensitive. Thanks, bemused in the button dome.
Thank you so much for writing in, and we hope to give you an answer because this does sound very time sensitive, which again, the weirdness of this being a podcast and you have to wait a while to hear the answer and then like transmission times to space. Anyway, so I think there's a couple things to consider here. Like, I mean, she's cute now, but like the outfit she's wearing, I think really says a lot about like her maturity levels. And like, if you're going to get into this relationship, the U-Haul lesbianism of pressing a button to end war.
We have to assume, yeah.
I really think you need to consider, how they dress, how they present themselves. Twin tails I don't know if twin tails should ever be somebody making decisions of the scale. What do you think, Brian?
I agree. I think Yuki's outfit betrays a certain Heideggerian sensibility about the way society operates. Man, this is tough, right? Because to some degree, you both have your points. I just want to say that there are fine people on both sides.
There are fine people on both sides of social philosophy.
I'm going to go with the kind of shocking everyone for Miles. I'm going to go with the Foucauldian stance of we are kind of born neutral and malleable, and we are disciplined by the structures that society imposes on us into something that is not necessarily simply measured as inherently good or bad, but mediated, which means that whatever I have the foresight to know this. Apparently, you're going to still live in a palace after this anyway.
The Cray foresight?
I have the Cray foresight to know that you're going to live in a palace after this anyway. So it seems like you're retaining power, and you can kind of shape whatever those ideological apparatuses are going to be. And so I would just say, make sure that you're not an idiot about that, and push the button. That's my take.
What do you think, Nico?
I'm so glad Brian actually knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, sorry I don't know about fucking social philosophy in this fucking podcast about mechs. I'm over here like, what if girls kiss? And you're like, what about the nature of man? Are babies bad when they're born? I don't know that shit. You know what I know? Two girls kissing.
You know the price of smiles.
I know the price of smiles, which is 10,000 orphans and a dead battery orb fish.
Make out. You just got to make out, because here's the thing, you're not stuck with her. Alice made a fine assertion, but actually what's going to happen, you make out with this girl one time, and then you go back to your bestie who saved your life when you were having to fist fight other mechs to death, and you run an orphanage together, apparently, because that's what that seemed to suggest to me. Because I was also on Yuri Watch Alice, and I said, oh, Lily's running that orphanage. Oh, and so-and-so's the breadwinner over here. She's a cop, but, she's kind of winning the bread. I think that they got the biggest found family possible, which is all those fucking orphans. So make out. You get whatever you want once war has officially been stopped with a button press. So good luck.
Good luck. We're here to help, and good luck with social philosophy and giant mechs. And that's this episode of On the Shoulders of Giants, where we wrapped up our discussion on the price of smiles. Any parting thoughts, guys?
I legit am gonna look back on the fact that we spent a full 90 days on this television show and smile wistfully to myself.
It was the price for that smile that you had. Really? That was the price of smiles.
We spent longer discussing this media than this media ran for.
Oh God, don't tell me that. No.
Thanks for listening. Pilots, remember you can reach out for advice from our team at our email, questions@osgpod.com, and non-pilots can send general questions or feedback to that same address. You can also catch up with us on social media. The links are in the description for updates and more. Make sure to check back in 2 weeks when we'll be discussing Armor Astor Advent. Until then, goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye, I love you.
Goodbye, I love you.